Redditors who own multiple pets. What's the drama going on amongst them right now? Story 1. I bought a clownfish for my tank recently. My neon goby has been hiding in the rocks ever since. I think he feels like a stranger in his own home now. Edit, thanks for the silver. It's my first. Story 2. My mom's 10-year-old cat is staying with us for a few days. Our golden retriever loves cats, but has never spent a ton of time around them until now. He is absolutely enchanted by her. He follows her around all day so he can watch her do cat things like scratch a scratching post, or tinkle in a box, or roll around in catnip. He keeps trying to roll around in catnip himself, and is newly confused every time something magical doesn't happen to him. She's unimpressed by her big new friend, but we can tell she secretly likes him. Edit pet tax edit 2, as thank you for the gold. Hey, race my golden China cat, and thanks for the silver too. Story 3. We're currently pet-sitting a friend's tortoise while their family is on vacation. We took the tortoise out to walk in the grass while we were doing yard work, and our dog decided to take on the role of nanny and follow it around, barking at the cats when they came too close. Story 4. My fish mind their own business mostly, but a few weeks ago, one of the tetras I had for quite a long time started dying. The first sign of impending death in a fish is the swim bladder failing. So they swim sideways, upside down, or just stop moving, and then suddenly, after living peacefully in harmony for as long as I'd kept them together, one of my angelfish took this opportunity to eat one of the tetra's eyeballs. The other angelfish started picking at it too while it was suffering. I just killed the fish myself to put it out of its misery, rather than getting eaten alive. Brutal. Story 5. My cat is pretty old now, so eats small portions of her meals over several hours. My dog has started sneaking into the kitchen and eating her meal before she's done. She then comes back and sees that her food has been eaten and so meows incessantly until someone in the house gives her more food. Whenever she sees my dog, they have a standoff where she snarls at my dog. So we'll catch them at a few dollars more style stare-off many times during the day. She also goes and makes it a point to drink my dog's water instead of her own in retaliation. Story 6. Well, for a long time, 7 years this year, Dusty ate on the right and Misty ate on the left, side by side. Then one day earlier this year, Dusty decides she doesn't want to be a right eater anymore, so she is now unilaterally moved over to the left. This has completely puzzled Misty, who doesn't understand at all why things have changed, and will now sit there to the left of the bowl watching Dusty eat for a minute before realizing she has to go around to the right now. The bowls are the same, the food hasn't changed. Dusty just decided the right side wasn't for her anymore, and now she wants to be a left-sided eater, and Misty just has to deal with it. Cats, I don't know. Story 7. Well, funny, you should ask. Just this very moment, the dog backed up onto the couch because the cat growled at her. The dog really wants to play and be friends, but the cats won't give her the time of day. Story 8. We are currently integrating an adult and fat rat with 3 younger ones. He's not aggressive unless they climb into his enclosure, particularly his felt cube. Nothing worrisome, though. However, he's tired of the younger ones smacking him in the face and darting away because he's too fat and slow to catch them. Rats can die of loneliness and depression, so it's important for them to have buddies. Edit, the comments are 50-50. They're either stories about rattos, or I must be a rat because I'm dying of loneliness. A rat's brain chemistry is extremely similar to our own, so the depression they feel for being alone is very much akin to our own. Rats are magnificent creatures, smart, clean, and have bright personalities, so if you're coming to the conclusion that you are a rat, that means you too are a magnificent creature. Story 9. Rescued African gray hates everyone. Her only joy is terrorizing the cockatiels. Cockatiels protest and evacuate their cage. AG sneaks in to eat their food. She is supposed to be in a restricted diet. No one wins. Story 10. The girl ferret taught the boy ferrets how to get into the closet because she likes to feel smart and thinks she won't get in trouble if it's the boys doing it. I also caught her teaching the boys how to unzip the cushions on the couch in their room to hide inside. She is too much sometimes, the sneaky scoundrel. Story 11. I have a cat and a dog. We are currently living in a 2-bedroom apartment since we just relocated while we wait to move into our house. Cat and dog are both unhappy with the lack of space, but dog has it slightly better because he gets to travel 16 floors down the elevator to take a walk around the city twice a day. However, dog is now bearing a noticeable grudge against cat. Since we've started taking cat up and down the corridors for daily walks, he hears the clink of the leash as we put it on cat and comes running, ready for another walkie. The look of confusion and betrayal in his eyes is harsh. His usual level of token harassment of cat to be expected in any cat-dog relationship has definitely increased. Story 12. Not right now, but I grew up with possibly the only lazy Australian shepherd on the planet, Ruby. When she was 10, we adopted a second Aussie, Katie was a sweetheart who wanted to play catch all day. Ruby was a grump who wanted to catch Katie's ball and sit on it. Ruby was always a bit of a chonker, but her drive to ruin Katie's fun was so strong she lost weight running to steal her ball. Edit, wow, this blew up. I'm loving everyone's stories. I'm at work right now. But here are two very low-quality MTG cards I made of Ruby and Katie in like 2011. Edit to my first Reddit gold. Thank you. Story 13, we found a month-old kitten back in August. He seemed fine at first, but it turns out he is, in the vet's words, built all wrong. His back, legs, and hips are, and his growth is stunted at about the size of a 6-month-old kitten. He's terribly inbred and kind of a lunatic. He doesn't keep concepts like don't do this or you get in trouble in his head. We tried training him. We've never had a problem doing this for any cat in the past, and he thinks the proper response to anything he doesn't like is to rear up on his hind legs and attack, thankfully without claws or teeth. But that does include simply walking past and not feeding him. He's just a small ball of uncomprehending, cross-eyed rage and poor wiring. He also runs into walls and furniture constantly, and he loses his little crippled over balled-up paper, which often causes him to run into walls and furniture. He sleeps in the paper recycling bin with all our junk mail. He doesn't paw at doors, he licks them. We adopted another cat, about 6 months older than him, in January. The other cat is like the dictionary example of perfect feline poise and prowess, when he is standing absolutely still. Otherwise, he's every single episode of a Fast Furious movie crammed into 14 pounds of pure muscle. We have floors throughout most of the house, linoleum, and tile elsewhere with a few carpets. He hurls himself around at warp 9 everywhere. His feet aren't even under most of the time. He just slides around. He's a thief, and he takes whatever he's stolen down to the basement. We haven't found his stash yet. He prefers to be held upside down, with his head and paws dangling. If you try to pick him up normally, he'll twist in your arms until he's in that position. It wouldn't be so bad if they got along. The smaller cat wants to play, but he weighs a whole 6 pounds, so the bigger one just knocks him around. They can't even play with toys together because the smaller one is also nearsighted. If we have the laser pointer out, the bigger one becomes the predator, and the smaller one loses it 10 seconds later and stands around confused. We love them both very dearly, but they're the absolute worst and most entertaining cats. Currently, they have to be kept separate while we do physical therapy on the smaller one in preparation for surgery to repair his patellas. The bigger one gets very jealous when this happens and tries to shove himself through the gap under the door to reach him. Since he can't do that, he takes every common toy between them and hides them in the basement. Left the cockatiels with the neighbor when I went away for a week. Neighbor did a great job, but I'm not sure they got as much human interaction as they usually do. Got home, and one now sounds exactly like 2M, assuming 2 was bored and spent the week talking his brother's earholes off. Cute duets of PKBO and maniacal laughter. It's cute, but it's loud, and it weirded me out not being able to tell them apart by sound. Story 14 happened 2 weeks ago. Got a budgie. Budgie gives my cockatiel chlamydia. Cockatiel nearly dies and receives meds and is cured. TLDR, got a good on the dog's nose today. Can't really fault the cat. She made it very clear she wanted to be left alone. Dog didn't get the message until it was too late. Message received. At least for a little while. Doggo will try and make friends again soon. Story 15, my blind pug gets upset when the big deaf dog goes near her, touches her, and the big deaf dog has no idea. She is angry, barking, growling about it. Am living in a tiny circus. ETA, the pug, is a wrinkly old 11-year-old girl, and the big deaf dog is a Catahoula puppy. Story 16, it's suddenly sweltering. We have 1 fan and 2 cats. Needless to say, some issues are arising, and positions in front of the fan are becoming more and more contentious. Note I don't seem to factor into their considerations much. Story 17, 6 and 2 years old Maltese, and around 4 or 5 years old cat. The 2 Maltese play with each other all the time. The 2 years old really wants to play with the cat, but the cat wants nothing to do with it. No fighting, but the cat will do her hissy yowl to get the dog to go away. She also swats, but it's harmless. Cat's previous humans had her declawed. Story 18, my dog keeps crying to my pet mice. She'd do it for hours if I let her, but I'm not going to have her stressing them out. As for the mice, one cries whenever the other sniffs her, but she also cries when she can't open seeds fast enough to eat them. Plump as can be, and no injuries. She's getting better at not squeaking at everything. I think she's just anxious. Story 19, I have 2 working breed dogs. 1 rescue amp, 1 from an accidental litter, spay, amp, neuter. Folks, 0 the collie loves all humans. Tolerate calm dogs, and keeps himself neat, amp, clean. His brother Math, however, really irks him in the ways only a brother can, plus he's part blue heeler and very rough, but very playful. Downright boisterous. I love my dogs, I really do, Zero is best dog and Math is most dog because they're two completely different dogs who look very similar but have nearly opposite needs outside of food affection. We have two varieties of 3 different color in the house. To make sure there are duplicates, since these jerks will fight over a single toy if their mouths can both fit on it, pulling in opposite directions. But it's no longer enough to have 6 different available. It seems they've started scuffling over the same color ball, either the blue or the green, not a red, orange, or pink right when they come back from a walk. Zero immediately claims rights to a ball in the corner, but growls defensively instead of picking it up, and Math just likes messing with him, and B gets obsessed with taking any ball he wants. Math dives and Zero gets pissed. They latch on each other's faces for a minute and make a racket. I break it up and they go to their separate kennels. This has happened 3 times in the last 2 weeks. No bloodshed, but it still ruins the mood. They had previously been creating artificial scarcity by moving all but 1 ball into another room, to then scrap over it like no others exist in the universe. We went from 3 to 6 as a preventative measure. This is where we've now ended up, I guess, as it's always something with these two. Has been for the last 8 years. They're both idiots. Story 20 anniversary is coming up next week, so wife thought it would be a good idea to get collars for our cats. The oldest cat keeps biting at everyone's collars now, because he used to be the only one that had a collar. But his son seems to get it the worst because they both have bow ties, and he doesn't like his son to shine. Story 21 Betsy the Danger Noodle is outgrowing her tank and is making her displeasure known. Abby the pug and Chewy the Pekingese are fighting over who gets to lay on the couch. Story 22 A stray cat recently sat outside our window, teasing our indoor cats, which freaked all our indoor cats TF out. Somehow, in the confusion, one cat attacked her brother and now growls anytime he comes near her. Story 23 My dog is whining and being generally annoying because he heard another dog outside and wants to go out now. My cat follows him around and reaches up to smack him in the face from time to time as if to reprimand him for being annoying. Story 24 Our 80-pound pupper has entered his rebellious phase and is being an overall jack with the hardest noggin for ramming people. The 10-pound fluffball has an inferiority complex and decided this was the month she didn't feel like getting along with her slightly younger, much bigger brother, but maybe next week she'll think about it. The oldest overweight male is just a dachshund. A.k.a. if all is calm in the house, he has to pee on a human bed that the big dog sleeps in, off 4 adults and a giant dog in one instant. The little dog, not wanting to be left out, also gets pissed and then poops on the rug in her anger, both fully potty trained, just dachshunds. Holy terrors that I love. I hate them all, but they're my smushes and I will die for them. A year ago, it was utter chaos, and no one could be left alone without the Hunger Games beginning and a human left with them resenting the rest of the household. Story 25 We got a kitten in January. Our older cat just about tolerates her as long as Kitten minds her business and stays off her bed at night. But Kitten wants to be on the bed more than anything in the world. We now have daily power struggles, races to the bed, midnight slap fights, and occasionally, perfect harmony where they're both too tired to notice the other cat is also on the bed. Story 26 Susan the ragdoll has been switched to regular feeding times rather than just being allowed to graze all day. She now follows us around the house meowing and swiping at Rupert and Chili the Spoodles if they try to interrupt her begging time. Rupert and Chili are terrified of her. They just want some pats. Susan wants them to feel her pain. Story 27 One of my rabbits keeps trying to steal the other one's spot under my bathroom sink in my dirty clothes overflow. The day he learned to open those cabinet doors, ugh. Story 28 My huge 15 pounds tomcat gets tackled by my little chihuahua all the time. My cat is taken to just lying down and letting my chihuahua kick his. My cat never gets hurt, of course, but boy does it make my chihuahua think he's tough. Not really drama, but it's pretty fun to watch. Story 29 I have a dog that I have had for 5 years. Recently adopted a pregnant rescue. She has had her pups and is a really sweet dig, but our 5-year-old pup has been super sad and submissive because she doesn't want to hurt or upset Mama, or the pup says Mama dog gets mad when she plays. So we're currently talking lots of walks and playing with our 5-year-old when Mama pup feeds her pups. Also, the cat feels neglected as he has been on room arrest for getting close to the puppies. Story 32 Dogs, bosom buds, except when the food comes out. Girl dog stands over her food and barks instead of eating it regardless of what boy dog is doing, including eating his own food, sleeping in another room, or even not being in the house at all. She's a bit of a drama queen. Story 31 My German Shepherd practically raised my 2 Maltipoo puppies, but now that he's older the male Maltipoo would grab onto the German Shepherd's mane and just dangle from his face while he screams. Story 32 We have a kitten named Boogie and a 2-year-old cat named Funk. They get along well, but Boogie has a lot of frantic energy and bothers Funk sometimes. Funk now has to play the role of elder statesman, even though he's still a young cat. He's being very chill about it overall. I wonder how they'll get along when Boogie grows up. Story 33. My dog wants to be friends with all the cats in the worst way. They for the most part tolerate him and look at him like he's an idiot, which to be fair he often is. My youngest cat is a rescued stray, and he legitimately hated the dog at first and saw him as a true threat. He's over all that now, but just recently realized that he can puff up and hiss and aggressively approach the dog, which sends the dog falling all over himself to beat a hasty retreat. So now the cat takes great joy in chasing my 90-pound dog around and making him scrabble through the house like a little, while the other two cats observe from on high and roll their eyes at the spectacle. Story 34. One started off by being a "see next Tuesday" to the other three, scratching and hissing at them. Now, she gets charged at and chased by the others pretty much constantly. We're trying to rehome her because she's really sweet to humans. Constant drama. Story 35. My partner and I have a greyhound and a cat. Generally, they just ignore each other, but lately the cat has taken a liking to sitting on the sofa. Gwynny the greyhound loves the sofa and gets really jealous if we're patting Sophia the kitty on the sofa. So he's taken to coming right up to our faces and doing this high-pitched bark. Scares the out of me every time. Story 36. I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. The cats hate each other and used to scrap constantly. In my vet's recommendation, we put them on a supplement that helps calm them down a bit. It's essentially a protein powder derived from milk, which has calming properties. They hardly ever scrap anymore since they've started taking it. My 2 dogs get along well, but the younger one is in his teenage phase. He has a real problem with nipping when he gets too excited. He also has the odd accident in the house. I've been using positive reinforcement to try and eliminate these behaviors, which has been showing some success. But it will still be a while until those unwanted behaviors are completely eliminated. Story 37. So we have a cat, Brooklyn, and a dog, Thor. Brooklyn is constantly bullying Thor. Even though he outweighs her by 80 pounds, my best guess is that she gets mad when he goes into the bathroom, which she claimed as her area. He always comes to me or my wife for protection. Story 38. Not current, but the biggest drama I ever witnessed between my ducks was their mighty tug-of-war over a frog leg, back and forth, running across the yard, grappling for control of that muscular leg. One would finally grab the leg from the other and try to splash into the pond only to be chased by the other. And repeat. I really don't want to know how they divided the rest of that poor frog. The leg fiasco only lasted 5-ish minutes, though. Then they were back to being BFFs. Story 39. Every time I put the hamster in his hamster ball, the dog thinks it's a great new toy and wants to play fetch with it. The hamster is understandably less enthused about the idea. Now Doggy has to be closed in one bedroom. Whenever I let the hamster go for a run in his ball. Edit spelling. Story 40. My dog Corgi constantly tries to hurt our cat. She'll be sleeping in a chair, minding her business, when he sneaks up and gives her a little nip on the neck and nearly scares the fur right off of her body as she darts toward higher ground. This happens 2 to 5 times a day. They've been living under the same roof for almost 2 years. No amount of hissing or swipes deters him. He always thinks she's just playing with him. Story 41. Every night, our cat attacks her dog's tail when it's asleep. Every time this happens, the dog jumps up, starts barking, and chases the cat down the hallway. I haven't had a full night's sleep in months because of this game they play. Story 42. 4 cats. One stays in my room, 'cause she's mean to the others. My dad's 2 are not huge fans of the kitten, and the biggest drama we have right now is either who gets the hole in the cat tower or who gets to lay in my lap. Story 43. The old, frail rat is still an object of fear and wonder to the 2 younger guys. He will lope after them in slow chases, and if his poor blind doesn't lose track, try to tackle them. His old, fat brother gets tackled for fun by the younger guys and just lays there like a confused furry turtle. Old frail guy is getting pickier and pickier about his food and calmly imposes his will on the humans to accept or reject whatever he fancies. Story 44. I have 2 older rescue, mutts who weigh 60 and 80 pounds. When I had my other cat, bigger dog loved her and would cuddle her all the time. Other pupper tolerated her. She's a big scaredy dog. That cat died 2 years ago. So last summer we adopted a new cat. She apparently hates dogs and wants to kill my mutts. The big dog doesn't understand this and keeps trying to be friends. I gave up on it a long time ago, and they all live in separate rooms basically. Well, apparently over the last couple of weeks, when I'm not around to see, Brat Cat sneaks over to the dogs while they're sleeping and sniffs them. If they wake up, she scampers away. Dogs sometimes pretend to be sleeping maybe because they're terrified and allow her to sniff. My hope is that one day it'll walk in on Brat Cat and my big mutt snuggling surreptitiously and just act like this last year has been nothing significant. Story 45. Our 2 younger dogs got neutered. But we decided to not snip our 10-year-old Australian Shepherd because he is so timid and rarely marks anything. But now he's strutting around the house with a permanent smile on his face. I think he finally feels like the alpha. Story 46, we have 2 Devon Rex cats and 1 SBHYNX cat. The SBHYNX is the youngest, and the 2 Devons have been with each other from kittens, different litters, etc. But our 6-year-old daughter reads to them at nighttime. They all wait on her bed, and shall start the story. Well, it's getting cool, so Keith the SBHYNX is being dressed in jumpers, and the other 2 mock him mercilessly. Admittedly, it looks like he's wearing a turtleneck, but the 2 Devons will move away from him when he comes in for story time. Both look at him until he makes eye contact, then they look away quickly. It's like cat bullying. But Keith the SBHYNX in his impressive turtleneck sweater has claimed pride of place for story time, and this has pissed the other 2 off, so now they rarely come in for story time. They wait at the door. Keith also likes to steal food, so we've had to get microchip feeders as he was getting really fat and starting to bulge out of his sweaters, like an overstuffed sausage. Story 47, my new rescue dog farts constantly. I've tried different foods, but he just farts and then looks at me like I did it. It gets to the point where I will kick him out of the bedroom and make him sleep up front. Story 48, my cattle dog had ear surgery and has to wear a bonnet to stop from flapping her ears, and sometimes the cone of shame to stop from rubbing the bonnet. The cat is freaked about the cone and the noise it makes and doesn't go near the dog. Story 49, so not quite drama, but we have a family dog that was put down yesterday. 11-year-old Golden. The other animals, 3 cats and a dog, have all been extremely well behaved, and we think it's because they all know she's gone. It's been eerily quiet around, and the animals all seem to be mourning in their own way. The cats have all been sleeping on her old bed, and my other dog keeps running to the back door, thinking she might find her outside. It's incredibly sad, and I miss her more than anything. Story 50, my half-pit bull mastiff Mutt knocked down my half-pit bull bulldog Mutt while he was walking down the stairs and gave him a really bad concussion. He may have permanent brain damage. He no walk with a crooked neck and can't go upstairs anymore. We know she didn't mean to hurt him, but it really sucks, you know. Edit, thanks for the kind words, friends. Story 51, well, I have 8 lizards and 2 dogs. The issue in my lounge of lizards, yes, a group of lizards is called a lounge, is not among one another. No, they all live in separate enclosures. It's more between my bearded dragon meat and his own reflection. This dude bobs his head at his own reflection at least once a day. But of course to him, he's under attack by a strange dragon that is all up in his face, following him. Story 52, 7 cats. It's a nightmare. My roommates who own the house own 6. I have my one. Mine is Spooky. She is a princess and knows herself as royalty and is the eldest of them all. Truly a queen bee who loves her dad. Often grumpy, but secretly dying for my affection and presence. Also kind of fat. Perks of royalty, I guess. Then there is Melano, our newest addition. I picked up and call Hobo Cat from time to time as I found her at a gas station and got from my room, mate who was sad about losing a previous cat. Worst mistake ever. She harasses and troubles Spooky, just trying to take shots at the queen. Recently she's been in heat and has abandonment issues. She yowls through the house like a possessed accordion. She has a sweet side and mother's baby Diablo, but otherwise really doesn't care much for the others. There's Kuro, who is our big boy. Real sweet guy that just wants to cuddle and chill. He behaves well and plays with his sister Lotus all the time. He is curious of Melano, but smart enough to stay out of Claw's reach. Doesn't care much for baby Diablo. He steers clear of the queen. Lotus is a princess in training. She has the same tuxedo pattern as Spooky and is actually the only one a Pookie tolerates. I'm guessing it's a pattern thing, and she thinks we're the same coat, so you may follow me thing. She plays with Obsidian and the baby Diablo and has a passive relationship with all the other cats. She's sweet but needy. Gigi is precious. She came to us declawed and depressed, and I took an interest in getting her back in the game. She has since perked up and enjoys a passive relationship with all the other cats. Probably the least interactive with the others, and preferring to nub at my bedroom door for 10 minutes at a stretch to get her cardio in. She still has not really formed a relationship with any of the others. Sweet baby, though, just loves her cuddles. Obsidian is the middle child and knows it. She tries to act like Lotus and be affectionate and needy. She plays with Kuro even though he is over twice her size and weight. She actually has a playful relationship with Melano, who is often hateful with everyone else. And she's excited to teach baby Diablo how to play, and enjoys her role as a big sister finally. Baby Diablo, okay, a little fat boy, he is learning from all the cats. He plays with Obsidian and wrestles with her. He gets to have a mother figure for Melano watch is still odd to me, but endearing, and tries to keep up with Kuro and climbs right behind him. Kuro will slow down and wait for while he's learning how to jump new ledges, and such like I'm watching Karate Kid Cat Edition, or some. He still has his food aggressiveness we are working on and is always in the kitchen when we cook, often signaling the others and causing general troubles when just trying to have a meal. His legs are strong and short for his age, and running after the others is all well and good, and climbing fine, but jumping is a challenge. If Kuro is done with him, he jumps on top of our 6-foot-tall bookcase and stares at him as Diablo just looks up helplessly. In all of this, we also have Little Girl, our resident old lady dog, who just ignores them 99 of the time with the occasional snap to break up their wrestling when it gets too rough, like she is just fussing, saying, "All right, that's enough." It's enough to be its own show at times. Story 53 dog wants to sleep in my bed, but cat says he shall not pass down the hallway. They're about 15 feet away from each other and currently in a staring contest. Story 54 got my 3 guinea pigs skeeking at me, caused my chip bag crinkled. Those 3 think they're getting more food treat. Old cat is watching them curiously, but far too lazy and scared of them to do anything, the usual late-night routine. Story 55 my dog, Ada, is jealous if my cat, Tommy, gets pets from me, so she runs over to place herself in my lap if Tommy is headed my way. Tommy wants to eat the food Ada has left out. Ada suddenly realizes she is interested in the food again once Tommy goes sniffing around her bowl. Usually there's hissing and claw-retracted swipes from the cat. The dog is a big wimp, but if she's stressed, she will growl. Story 56 okay, so I've got cats, dogs, fish, and various insects. The drama is with the fish. I had to downsize tanks, so my 3 female betta got moved into a 10-gallon aquarium. And there's been some aggressions. There's also 4 male endlers. They have their own gay drama, but are all but ignored by the betta fish. So my oldest gal, Lissa, turned out to actually be a male. Apparently young plackets can be often mistaken for females. This was confirmed after watching him couple with a female named Cormer. Males are usually the aggressors, but Lissa was raised in a 29-gallon tank with dozens of guppies and shows little to no aggression. The aggression comes from Cormer, who is constantly chasing our 3rd betta, Duena, to the other side of the tank. There's plenty of plant cover, so aggression flares up, but doesn't usually persist after line of sight is broken. Back to the 4 Inler males. They're not pure strains. 3 show standard colorings, while the 4th shows half black body from the tuxedo guppy parent. Because this male looks different, he often gets harassed or singled out by the other 3 as a potentially mating target. Why not introduce a female for the guys? Female guppies lead to an endless supply of fry baby fish, and I had a hard enough time giving away the extra fish. Finally decided it was simpler to just not breed them, but decided to keep 4 males before I gave away all my supplies and other fish. That's the fish drama. Thanks for reading. Story 57 my Kana Peaches is terrified of my dress form, used for sewing, and keeps flying off her cage. She can't fly for. My cat Cinder always charges at her like she's going to eat her, but as soon as she gets close, she chickens out and backs away. I have to move soon to a place that only allows cats. So, am savoring any time I have left with Peaches before giving her to a friend. Story 58 my 2 dogs have been making love a lot recently, but he is fixed and she is a horny. My cat Jax has obesity overeating issues. He eats when he's bored and will sit and eat the whole bowl that's in front of him, but his girlfriend, my other cat June, is petite and cute and is working on being more social, so she's doing fairly well in life. Story 59 my cat recently became an only cat and hates it. So one day, I walk into the kitchen to see him and a cat I've never seen before. I guess he went out and found a stray to invite over. Now the stray follows him everywhere. He even cries for me to feed his new friend. It's both sweet and strange. Story 60 we have 2 fosters right now. They try to eat my dog's food, and Annie and Alfie get pissed. I've trained them not to be food aggressive, but they still get upset, go tell on them, and sit and moan loudly in the corner. Alfie will then go into the kitchen when he thinks I'm not looking, go and grab a mouthful of Roxy and Pepper's food, then run away to the corner to enjoy his riches in peace. Alfie thinks he's being sneaky, but I can see him crouching towards their food from a mile away. Roxy Foster and Annie Mine are both very dominant, so they growl at each other a lot. When my Annie thinks I'm not watching, she tries to lick Roxy and play with her, but secretly because she can't be caught off duty. Story 61 my cats Cinder and Nightmare have developed a scheme to get me up earlier than 5 a.m. to feed them, where they pretend to fight with loud yowling on top of me in my bed, and then both dart off to the kitchen if I react like I might get up. If I do not get up, they come back and do it again. The problem is that my other cat Sterling hates them, and she only likes me, and their fighting interferes with her favorite sleep spot. So now I have to carefully ignore Cinder and Nightmare to avoid reinforcing bad behavior, while listening carefully for growling, because if Sterling gets involved, everyone is going to end up with little bald patches on them. And my last cat, Baby Tortuga, always wants to sleep next to Sterling, but on a different level of blankets, so Sterling can't attack her. This doesn't work out great for either of them, because Sterling wants the bed to herself, and Tortuga is probably suffocating under the blankets. And all this while I'm trying to share a queen-size bed with my husband. Cats are the worst, and I love them. Story 62 Mother and Son Cats, 12 and 11 years old. Boy wants to play, has wanted it for 10 years, but the minute we got him neutered, his mother wanted nothing to do with him, hisses, scratches, runs away for a decade. Story 63, I own a German Shepherd Husky mixed dog. Male, named Miko. I also own a large, fat female cat named Lola, along with a kitten named Evie. She has extra little toes on all her paws, and a leopard gecko named Tails. My dog is fine with all the pets in the household. My fat cat Lola, however, despises all of them. Every time my dog comes around, she growls and hisses. The little kitten, Evie, likes to provoke Lola as well. Evie will chase Lola all around the house as a little game to her. But to Lola, a demon is following her. I'm pretty sure the only living animal Lola gets along with in the house are the crickets we feed to the gecko. By the way, Evie and the gecko are the best of friends. Gecko likes to wave at her every time she's near the enclosure. They'll sit for hours on end admiring each other. And when the gecko is out of the enclosure, she'll meow and meow until she can get up close with the gecko. 1010 would schedule more play dates. Lola hates the gecko and everything else.